Hello, hello. Welcome to the stream where we are creating a React Native podcast application from scratch. This is episode 2, day 2, and let's see where we get today. First things first, yesterday where we left off, it was at this point where we were not able to see, we tried to set um, this is where it was yesterday, right? We were here yesterday where I tried doing total time minus current time, and we were getting some really weird um, times here, right? Like it says it said 3 minutes and then 36 minutes. It was a really dumb mistake. What we are passing to the time slider essentially is 2000 seconds and 6000 seconds, and 2000 seconds is not 3 minutes 20 seconds. What we were missing was that the whole thing had gone into hours, and that should have fixed everything, right? Let's just refresh that. You see what I mean? 2000 seconds is actually is a long seconds in minutes in hours. There you go. Nice. It's 33 minutes. Am I still messing this up? Wait a second. We're fixing it on stream, I guess. What are we looking for? We need 2000 seconds in minutes. Yes. Yeah, 2000 seconds is about 33 minutes. That makes sense. So when we do Unix moment.unix current time, it's essentially 2000 seconds, and we want it formatted as hours, minutes, and seconds. Now, when we say 2000 ms from epoch, right? Let's do that. That is what we're trying to do, and that is, I think, where we're messing up. So if I just do this, it says it's GMT. In my time, it's 6:03:20 at IST, and that is what our little boy is showing here. You see, and that is the problem. I think what we should do instead is use durations, right? Because that is what it is. We've been directly using, we're assuming moment would do all the magic on its own, but what we need to use is durations. A current time is a duration, right? So if we did this instead, right, that's what it wants us to do, and we did that, and we also did duration this seconds. We did that. Let's see how it shows up. Oh wait, format is not a function. How do you display a duration? You can only humanize duration. That's not useful. What a stupid thing to get stuck on, don't you think? Moment duration format. I don't want to use another plugin just to format that. That would be weird. There's an issue about this, and It's actually recommending we use some other libraries. Okay. Did they implement anything? These are all suggestions. And some 2019 and still need this feature, sure. Okay, we could count the hours, you know. No, we don't want this. Date range plugin for Moment.js. No, we don't want this either. Maybe. No, we might end up using this plugin though. Yeah, we can't do this, you know. This is what we tried because we have the duration as seconds, but it's useless for us. And somebody's suggesting this, but that won't work either because if it's 2 hours, it's going to say 2 hours and 120 minutes. And that's, again, not what we want. And this boy is converting duration to what we needed, and that won't work either. What does the plugin say? Formatting numbers and blah blah blah. We'll install that. Okay. Conversion argument returns format template precision settings. Okay. I want to format this duration as days, hours, minutes, seconds. Yes, that's what we want. So we're getting this. We're going to use this. I'm not going to spend too much time trying to figure out how to do durations in JavaScript. Yarn add. There you go. Is it done? I added it using yarn. I should bring this boy here. There. We should have access to this here. Import duration format from, what was the plugin called again? I just installed it. Moment duration format. Okay, moment duration format. Here, put you here, and we need to look at you. And what does the documentation say? How do we use this again? We give it a duration. I don't want to change. I don't want to add a function to the duration object. I would rather just call this function separately. Can I not call this function separately? Oh, I have to do this. Oh. No. There must be another way. I don't want to mess with the duration object. trim. You know what? Fine. Fine. We'll do it. This boy is called setup. Duration format setup. I'm just going to leave a to do here. Do not like this. Replace later. Once we figure out how to do durations, you know, like how to show this properly. That should work, I guess, now. Yeah, it works. Cool. One thing's out of the way. What else do we need? Do we need to do... yeah, we were talking about setting up React navigation today. Yeah. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to set up navigation for our app so that you can come into the screen and then also get out if you want. We'll set up a simple screen that just has like a bunch of gibberish podcast lists. And then when you click on any of them, you come to the screen. That's what we're going to set up today. The other thing that we need would be like API requests and all of that, but we can figure that out as we go along. We're still setting up the basics of the project right now. Okay. I'm going to commit this first. Fix up duration to string format using plugin. And let's push that. So what are we going to use for navigation? We're going to use, where is my boy? There you are. React navigation. That's one of the simplest libraries to set up to start with navigation in React Native. How do you get started? We should do just an initialize project. No, we don't have export CLI. If you're using a bare React Native project, use minimal. Yep, that's what you're doing. Let's add React navigation. Made up of some core utilities used by navigators to create navigation in your app. Libraries installed now. Was it done? Do I need to? Oh, right. I might need to set up. I will have to build the project again, won't I? Let's do that. While that is happening, that is going to like install dependencies for React navigation. I'm sure there are a few native dependencies. Reading the documentation. The first thing we need is all of these guys are splitting up their libraries into multiple libraries. As I said, it's a good thing. But I don't want to build again. I just did. Fine. We need to install React navigation stack. Fine, let's install that guy. Oops. No. Let's add that. And how do you use this? Wants us to do a create app container and then do a create stack navigator. Okay. So everything is within app container now. Okay. Cool. Cool. Let's do that. Let's just set this up quickly. Where is Emacs? So in our source, we're going to have, where do we set up navigation? As part of this, makes sense. Navigation.js. Oh shit, I created a folder instead. Navigation.js. Yeah. Got that out of the way. Const navigation. So it needs these guys. Let's do that. And let's create a stack navigator. Play screen. Let's import play screen. We have that. Yeah, it says it's a shortcut to do that. It's not a problem. Alright, I don't want to call it play. Do play screen. Right? And we return, export default create app container app navigation. Makes sense? Yeah. Then we call that instead in our index.js app navigation from navigation.js. Yeah. Does that work? Oh, we installed Stack Navigator, so off to the builders again. And it failed. What happened? So one of the problems with React Native is it's super hard to figure out what went wrong. Oh, also, if you don't remember from last stream, if I build again, it just wants me to like restart the app at least once. It's not a registered callable module. What? What? Did I mess something up? I must have messed something up. It needs me to create an app as well, right? Let's do that, I guess. Let's do that. Source screens app.js. Let's do that. Import React. That's what the documentation wants. Yeah, it just returns the app container, which is what was returned by this boy. Export default create app container. Yeah. Let's call it app container. Global subword mode first. Yes. And we'll import app container from navigation.js. Yeah. Once we set up like Redux and all of that, we'll write all of the Redux code inside app.js as well. Export default app. Okay, and let's just import app instead. What happened to app registry? I must have messed something up. What did I do? You know, one of the cool things about Emacs, I'm going to show you. How. Did I change something here? No. We have to ask Google about this. App registry is callable module. There you go. Other people had this. What's wrong? Just skill. Oh no. You mean to say this boy messed up? Fine. Let's give it another go. There you go. Sometimes feel these are a little messy. What's the problem? It did talk about that somewhere here. There you go. It means all of this. Okay. I'm sure you need to build again. Why did this not complain when I try to build something with incomplete dependencies? You know? Come on, you got this. You're trying a lot. Good job. Couple of more restarts maybe. What's wrong? Stop it. Yeah. Oh, it worked. Oh, so relieved. Okay. You see, it added a header and all of that because React Navigation. We're inside React Navigation now. We're inside a stack, right? Now, what do we need to do? We need to. There's a child playing next door. I'm sorry about that if you can hear that. Okay. You set up navigation. Now we need a screen that is just, let's call it, what shall we call it? We shall call it a podcast screen where a particular podcast information is shown. You know what I mean? Let's do that. And let's create the podcast screen. export default podcast screen. You know what, let me just keep this out of the way so that I know what you guys are hearing as well. These kind of hide all the noise around me. And boy, is it loud today. Just a second. We have that. And let's add this to our navigation. Podcast screen. Import podcast screen from. Yeah. I think it's ordered automatically. The podcast screen is what will now render, right? Yeah, I think so too. How do I move from podcast screen to this one? Moving between screens. Hello. Blah 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 blah. What are the props now? But I don't have props. I want hooks. How do I get hooks? React navigation with hooks. Come on. Come on. They have a navigation context. Nice. Okay. Let's just place a single button on podcast screen. Yeah. Import button from React Native. Button title. Go to play screen. Yeah, and we can use. So I need to add this. Cool. Let's add that. God. So I'm trying to avoid writing classes completely, if you know what I mean. So we need use navigation from, what's it called again? I keep forgetting these library names. React navigation hooks makes sense. Navigation hooks. Wait, do I not have to set up anything? I must, right? How do this can't work out of the box? Let's look at the example. app.js. Switch router and all we don't use anymore. Navigation options. Create navigator. That's it. Okay. React navigation. But what? In fact, in the context engineering, this conversation use context. That is provided by most hooks. What is hooks? It is this boy. Let's see if it works. What does it want to navigate this guy? Okay. I'm going to do on press. Navigate home. Navigate. Play. That's what it's called. Yeah. Yeah. The back button works out of the box. Cool. You see what you've done? We've set up two separate screens. We got navigation to work. So this screen is eventually going to have information about the podcast, like episode list, a button to maybe show who is the podcast creator, and what all episodes are downloaded. You can filter that and all of that, like a summary of a particular podcast. Yeah, and once you click on an episode, or you click on, say, a big play button in the middle, I think the big play button in the middle would play the latest episode. But anyway, once you click on that, it's going to bring you here, where it's going to start the podcast from wherever it was, and continue from there. Okay? We've done two things today. We have fixed that Moment.js problem, and we have set up React navigation today. Do we need to do anything else? I was planning to keep this short. It's Sunday, and I just wanted to deal with that moment problem first. Okay. What else? What else can you do today? I don't want to set up Redux today. We don't need it yet. We could try passing information through the useNav prop, We could do that actually. Like you're on the play screen, you're on the podcast screen, and you click on play, or on any particular podcast and episode, and it goes with that information into the play screen. The play screen on its own should have no information. All of this should come from outside. Maybe the current time and total time it can pick up from the Redux store or persistence or whatever. But everything else has to come from outside. Yeah. Okay. How do you pass props through React navigation? You can use param. Ooh. Cool. Okay. That's easy. I was not expecting that to be so easy. How do you pass params? Navigation props. Navigate, and then you give it a root name, and you give it some params. Or you can do this. Cool. Let's try that. Let's just do on the podcast screen. Let's just call this podcast information. Right. Artist info. That's gonna be the image URL. We should get that from there. No. This guy, and artist name, hello internet, and let's call it podcast title. Best podcast ever. Right? And then what we do is we do podcast information. No, we should do this. We should do podcast information. You know why? Because if we just pass this, right? Then on the play screen, we'll have to, according to those hooks documentation, we'll have to like get each param one by one, which I don't want to do. And in that case, each param would essentially be, each of these objects, artist info and podcast title. I would rather get the whole thing at once. So what we can do is just wrap this boy in a object. what this means, what I've done right now, I'll just save this so it formats it nicely. What this has done essentially, this is equivalent to doing this. Okay, that is what it means. And so we just passing the whole object into the play screen, and let's just try and get that use navigation param. Okay, import use navigation param from React navigation hooks. Right, that's what it's called. Yeah, and now we can get const podcast info. What did we call this? Podcast information. Okay, equal to use navigation param podcast information. I'm very uncomfortable using strings like this. We shouldn't do that. Ideally, this should have been const podcast info key is podcast information, and this would be podcast info key and podcast information, right? And what we would do is, let's do it fine, we're cleaning it up, let's do it properly. On the play screen, we would just import podcast info key from podcast screen, right? And do podcast info key. There, no more string constants, you know. Now you can just do what all did you put into podcast? Artist info and podcast title. Okay, artist info and podcast title to the podcast information, and this boy is artist info.image URL, and what is this guy? Artist name, artist info dot artist name, and this is podcast title. Okay, does that work? It kind of breaks a few things. I wonder if use navigation params has some default value we can pass. Use navigation params default. Let's just look at how use navigation params is defined. Yeah. No, man. Give me how it's defined. Where is it? Use navigation param. There it is. It just takes this and get param. What if it's not defined? What do we get then? All of this is going to break, you know, because right, this is probably going to break if we show up in like the navigation screen directly, on the play screen directly. It won't have any of this. So we'll figure that out.